Áine Tyrrell is getting ready to head out on tour. The Clare-born singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist will kick off her Bitseach tour with a show at the Attic Hotel Doolin tomorrow. I'm very pleased to say that Áine joins us on the line now in Morning Focus. Áine, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Very, very well. So you're on the eve of this tour. I don't know how you are ahead of a tour. Is there kind of excitement? Are any nerves? Looking forward to it?
Yes, so looking forward to it. I mean, definitely you kind of have all the bits and pieces to get together and you're like, oh no, I forgot that bit at the last minute. But it's, I've been doing a lot of festivals and supports and different things since I've been back the last 6 months. I moved home in July. And so it's really beautiful actually to be heading out on my own shows now and, doing the full show and not just, a little 20-minute bit, but actually really digging in with people. So I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, because you were in Australia for quite some time, and I don't know how busy or otherwise you thought you'd be coming back to Ireland, but has it panned out the way you expected? Have you actually been pleasantly surprised? You've had more shows and more work than perhaps you envisaged.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd come back, and it takes time, but it started with a bang as soon as I got back, which is great. You can't be complaining about that. But I feel like I'm only just getting the ground under my feet now, because making the move with 3 kids and, the whole thing, I was there for over 10 years. So it's a huge move, But actually doing the gigs and playing music has been, it helps you get through all the paperwork and the bank account opening and all the things that you have to do when you move home. And there'd always be, at the weekend, at least I'd go play some music and feel like a human again.
And that element you touched on there, where it's your own tour, as opposed to you touched on there 20-minute slots maybe at festivals and so on, because you're known not just as a singer but as a storyteller. Is it hard to give a decent flavour of what you're about in those more curtailed festival slots or support slots?
Yes, sometimes it can be, especially my music is quite diverse, I call it genre fluid. I can move from anything, and but I've kind of over my last 10 years touring full time in so-called Australia, I've really been able to kind of craft a way to hold that. And so I run the shows in 3 parts. I always talk about the truth and the healing and the fire, because we need doses of all of that, especially at the moment. But even in a 20-minute slot, I kind of try to just speed date through that same thing, so they get a little bit of a taste of something, but it's definitely not as, held and explored together as a longer set. But I think it's been a good way for me to meet those, shorter things and or festivals where you just kind of have to, I don't really do the whole sell yourself marketing thing, I just try to embody the music, and that's really a good way for me to do that anyway. It works for me just to kind of hold it in the story of all of it, and then you can kind of just pick a few songs for each theme that kind of fit for the time that's in it as well, because we're going through crazy times. It's wild, isn't it? So whatever I played 3 or 4 years ago, some of them might still have relevance, or like when I was in with you before singing one of my dad's songs, The Rising in the Moon, he recorded that 20 years ago. It still has so much relevance now, But then other songs you're like, yeah, not for now. There needs to be something else in here.
Yeah, and as you say, if part of what your material is about is kind of commenting on the events of the day, or trying to give assurance or to people about what's going on, yeah, it does seem that the news cycle is quite rapid. Is that having a big effect on what you are trying to do going forward, or is it good in a way to have nearly too much to be talking about rather than too little?
Probably. I mean, I've always got ideas floating through my head, too many, to be honest. They keep me up at night. But yeah, I do think it's our role as artists, whatever creative, and we all have creativity in us, and we can all respond to the times with our creativity, but that is our role as artists in these times. I think we have a more important role than ever, because so much of the news cycle and so much that's online, it's so divisive. It's so black or white, and there's no nuance in the middle, and that's the beauty about art. Like whether it's music or, visual art or theatre or dance, like there's a lot of nuance and there's a lot you can bring into, your feelings into the space, where I feel like, kind of the way that we're all programmed online, and it's like this big debate for everything rather than just being like, hey, we're all human. And that's the beautiful thing about live music, where everyone's in a room sharing experience together, and, it doesn't matter what age you are or what background you're from, you have that kind of collective moment together. And so, I think, we have a big role at the moment, us artists, to get up there and give some healing. So, we need you to turn up to the shows, though.
Yeah, God knows. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people who need healing, given what's going on. So I'm sure there'll be a good crowd at the tour and the gig tomorrow. You mentioned your dad playing the song, Sean, and you are very I said you're multi-instrumentalist, but multi-genre kind of an artist as well. But how big an influence is the Clare roots? Still very much deep-rooted within your music?
Yeah, huge. And I think just learning, to play music in sessions to start with, you're in circle with people and everyone's joining in, and it's a very, it didn't matter if you were, a child or like a professional musician like my dad, in a circle, in a session, kind of everybody has a place and a space in there, and that's really, that's kind of, really been a huge anchor in my music, as well as the storytelling and the tradition of everything, to know that we have such an incredible depth of, poetry and music and everything to feel into, which my dad, was very passionate about. And so, it's a great gift. County Clare.
I don't know how much or how sporadically you've been playing since you came back last summer. Has it been, a gig here or there? But how much has it set you up for this tour? A number. You're playing 7 dates around the country: Clare, Dublin, Belfast, Galway, Cork.
Yeah, massively. It's been great to connect in, and I've done lots of other things besides shows. Sessions. Or I just did a book tour with one of the editors from Hot Press, and you get to meet people from all different spaces, and that's been lovely, like to reconnect myself or hear stories about Dad as well has been really, really lovely. And then I have these shows here, and then I actually am heading back over to Bundjalung country, over so-called Australia, to play the biggest festival over there. It's called Byron Bay Blues Fest. So I'll be straight on the plane after these ones, and I think it'll really be beautiful because it'll set me up for the shows over there. I'll have a good dose of all corners of the country to bring the strength over there to do it.
Very good. It'll set you up nicely, all right. Bitseach, tell us more. Why was that the name of the tour?
Well, that's a single that I released in the last few months, weeks, I don't even know. Time is a blur, isn't it, at the moment?
Well, with everything that's going on, as you touched on, Áine, it's hard to get perspective on what time of the day or week it is.
This year. And Bitseach in Irish, I'm not allowed to say the word probably on radio, but you can guess maybe from the word that it comes from. And it's a song for us difficult, disobedient women who, get called names.
Áine, thanks for being so mindful of this interview happening at 11:15 in the morning. I really appreciate that. The Attic in Doolin, lovely venue. That's where the tour kicks off tomorrow. Have you played there before?
I have actually. I did. When I was in with you, we were talking about the Luke Kelly.
The tribute. Yeah.
It was beautiful. So lovely.
Okay, well look, we wish you well on the tour and heading back over to Australia as well. You can check out Áine at the Attic in Doolin tomorrow, and she'll also be, as I say, hitting Dublin, Galway, Belfast and Cork. Áine, lovely catching up with you, and hopefully we'll have you in studio again for a song as well. Thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Áine Tyrrell there, the Clare-born singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, multi-genre artist.